This time on The Buzz, two heavyweight powerhouses set a date to rock the Garden.
Hi, I'm Vitali Klitschko.
What's up? I'm Kirk Johnson.
You watching HBO.
The Buzz dropped in on Vitali Klitschko and Kirk Johnson as they met the press to talk up their upcoming fight on December 6th.
I'm ready to fight. Matter of fact, the fight should be tomorrow, but that's okay. I'll wait the time.
Win is very important to keep our dream alive. My brother Vladimir and I want to become as soon as possible our dreams to be world champion in same time.
This highly anticipated matchup brings together two ambitious heavyweights eager to vindicate themselves.
It's my first fight in Madison Square Garden, and I hope it will be a lucky fight for me.
Just expect to see Kirk Johnson at his best.
Last summer, Vitali Klitschko lost a controversial fight against Lennox Lewis by TKO. The loss was a crushing disappointment to Klitschko, who was ahead on points when the fight was halted.
Klitschko, in my eyes, he beat Lewis. So he's the man to beat right now. And for him to be fighting me, that's a wonderful thing.
Ironically, Klitschko's hard-fought battle with Lewis came about after Kirk Johnson was forced to bow out.
June 21st would have been a victorious night for Kirk Johnson. I would have been the man right now, but God kept me back. I had an injury.
Now both of these dangerous boxers feel they have something to prove.
You had your chance at Lewis and did a great job, but now I want my chance at Lewis, so the only way I can get there is to beat this man right here.
There's a lot on the line for both fighters, so we asked them for a prediction.
The bottom line is December 6th is going to be my night.
I want to say to Kirk Johnson, I give my best to beat you.
And be sure to catch Mesi versus Barrett right before Klitschko versus Johnson on HBO World Championship Boxing.
Young, I'm undefeated, I'm very, very motivated. I'm for real, and I'm going to prove that to some of these people in New York.
Coming up next on HBO.
And you've just been buzzed.
It's not TV, it's HBO.
Exhilarating, hard-hitting, unbeatable. HBO Sports. And now, the HBO Sports presentation, World Championship Boxing.
Celebrating 30 years of boxing, the following is a special presentation of HBO Sports, the network of champions.
For half a decade now, heavyweight champion Lennox Lewis has commanded the spotlight. Now those who chase him must wait as the aging champion ponders his next step. And the questions surrounding Lewis's future have fueled a broad assortment of moods among the men who covet his crown. Vitali Klitschko is anxious. A gaping wound cut short his spirited effort against the champion in June.
He can no longer see. He's fighting on pure heart, Klitschko is now.
Klitschko must win fights now to command the second chance he so desperately wants. Kirk Johnson is frustrated. 6 months ago, Johnson was ready to challenge the champion until injury on the eve of the fight dashed his hopes.
June 21st would have been a victorious night for Kirk Johnson. I would have been the man right now.
Left to wonder what might have been, tonight Johnson takes out his frustrations on Klitschko in an attempt to prove he, and not Vitali, is the rightful heir to the throne. Joe Mesi is as patient as can be. Undefeated in 27 professional fights, Mesi's steady climb through the heavyweight ranks drew heat after a devastating knockout of Navarro Williamson in September.
They call it star quality, and Joe Mesi has just provided a bundle of it to the heavyweight division.
Tonight, the journey continues against New Yorker Monte Barrett. Heavyweights take center stage as big-time boxing returns to the world's most famous arena. Will a legitimate title contender emerge, or will the mystery deepen? The answer is next.
the last time in 2003. HBO Sports celebrates 30 years of boxing coverage, building legends one round at a time. Tonight, we're in Madison Square Garden in New York City for a heavyweight doubleheader. First up, rising sensation Baby Joe Mesi faces Monte Barrett, possibly the toughest test of Mesi's skyrocketing career. Then, Vitali Klitschko, coming off his brave showing against Lennox Lewis, takes on legitimate contender Kirk Johnson. It's been more than 2 years since we've been in the big arena here at Madison Square Garden. Hopkins, Trinidad. Back then, in September 2001, the world was reeling from the after effects of 9/11. Now we're here under much different circumstances. The focus tonight on boxing and on who may emerge as contenders for the heavyweight throne. We expect to see two men's stock rise and perhaps two fall tonight in the race to succeed Lennox Lewis. Hello again, everybody. I'm Jim Lampley. We welcome you to this special edition of World Championship Boxing, which will cap off an eventful year of boxing here on HBO in 2003. There's always special excitement when we have heavyweights on the card. There's always special excitement when we're in Madison Square Garden. So let's get to it. Working with me, as always, HBO boxing analyst Larry Merchant. Larry, as the opening tease suggested, Lennox Lewis is either retired or perhaps will take one more fight before retirement. So how and through what process will a new legitimate champion emerge in the post-Lewis heavyweight landscape?
From the usual assortment of prospects and suspects, but there are some serious prospects afoot right now. Rockman and Tua are still with us. Rockman fighting John Ruiz next week. Klitschko, if he wins tonight, could face Sanders, who defeated his younger brother Vladimir, for a vacant title if Lewis retires. Among the little big guys, Bird is the Pernell Whitaker of the division. Tony has leaped into prominence with his victory over Holyfield and now is going to face the 260-plus pound Jameel McCline. Roy Jones wants one more mega fight and out. The prospects, Vladimir Klitschko, still the youngest, still the most promising at 27. Dominic Gwynn of Arkansas and Mesi are co-equals as among the best young American heavyweights to come along in a while. The heavyweight division periodically goes through this sort of transition, and inevitably someone comes out of it sooner or later. Sooner, we hope.
Yeah, that's right. Right now, a lot of guys standing at the velvet rope, and it remains to be seen who's going to be allowed into the inner circle. One man who made it in twice, winning the heavyweight championship through two vastly different routes, Big George Foreman. George, either Mesi or Vitali Klitschko could become the real thing in the heavyweight division. They both already have big public followings. What must either or both men show you tonight to stamp themselves as the one?
Fight out of adversity. Rocky Marciano, Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali, when you knock them down, when you beat them up, break their jaw, they started to fight. We're looking for someone who can just get up off the canvas and show us you don't need any protection. That's what we want.
And we start with one of the most colorful personal stories in the sport. Boxing is a sport with many father-son sagas. We have covered many of them over the years. None more colorful and dynamic than the two-man pairing which has brought Joe Mesi to unlikely heavyweight prominence. Joe Mesi is momentarily the most crowd-pleasing heavyweight on the planet. Armed with a thundering right hand, a disarming smile, and a charismatic personality. But behind the story of Mesi's rise in the heavyweight ranks, there lies a tale of family tragedy and personal loss, as well as inspiration and bonding between a father and a son.
I believe that everything happens for a reason. You have to learn from everything, and you have to get stronger from every event, whether they're losses or gains.
Mesi grew up in a small suburb outside Buffalo, New York. Though his grandfather, uncle, and brother were all boxers, Mesi didn't step into a boxing gym until the relatively late age of 21.
I never ever imagined myself being a boxer. You know, when I originally went to the gym, it wasn't in the intention to become a world champion, to be turned professional. I went there purely for the love of the sport, to maybe see what my grandfather and my uncle had experienced, and maybe at that time, most importantly, to kind of maybe lose some weight and get into shape.
Joe lost almost 60 pounds. realized he had a knack for fighting. But his parents, Jack and Barbara Mesi, had never envisioned Joe as a boxer. And at first, Barbara tried to head off her son's passion for the sport.
She was never really thrilled about me boxing, me fighting, always worried about me getting hurt, but she was my biggest supporter at the same time.
Well, my wife was more of the academic, and her wish for Joe was to become a lawyer.
She used to always tell me, quit that boxing, go to law school, I want you to be a lawyer.
But Joe kept boxing, calling on a fighting spirit he must have inherited from his mother, who fought her own ongoing battle with lupus, an autoimmune disease that prompts the immune system to attack the body.
She fought for 15 or 20 years with lupus disease, and she was as tough as they come, and I draw inspiration from that.
After the fights, because of her illness, she would literally be in bed for 2 and 3 days recovering from the stress of the fight.
I think maybe when she knew she wasn't going to be around much longer, told me, be careful not to get hurt. I assured her that nothing bad was going to happen to me in the ring. Don't worry about me, because I'm going to be safe and I'm in good hands.
In November of 2000, Jack and Joe watched as Barbara finally lost her fight with lupus. Their father-son relationship since then has deepened.
When you're one less parent, you know, it's one less person to rely on, and I drew closer to him. We've always been close, but that's the one parent figure I have left, and we are as close as can be.
Today, Jack manages Joe's career with the fervor only a father can supply, as he looks to catapult Joe into the upper echelon of the heavyweight division.
I'm sometimes criticized for being controlling, but my whole purpose in doing this is to protect Joe and get him to the title.
He is the reason that I think I'm the biggest ticket seller in the sport that does not hold a world title. He's a marketing genius.
Known as Buffalo's third franchise to go along with the Bills and the Sabres, Mesi admits giant crowds that come to his fights surprise him.
It's crazy, and I never thought it would get like this. I'm an athlete that was born here, raised here, educated here, and plan on becoming heavyweight champion of the world and continuing to live here. And I think they appreciate that.
As Joe's boxing skills sell out arenas, Jack tries to steer him into a title shot. Both men agree there's something much bigger in their lives.
It's just father-son, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It never is a business to us.
Someday when I'm an old man rocking in a rocking chair, I hope you'll get me my orange juice. And that's where we're going. It's way beyond boxing. We're going into way beyond boxing.
We tell each other everything. We do everything together. We're inseparable. He's, again, an inspiration and a big part of where we are.
Joe Mesi's had a spectacular year. 3 fights, 3 knockouts, a total of 4 rounds. Tonight, he fights an opponent with vast experience going the distance. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape now for baby Joe Mesi against New Yorker Monte Barrett. And you can see that Barrett at 32 is 2 years older than Mesi. He's also 2 inches taller. The arm length advantage, surprisingly, 1.5 inches, measured from the armpit to the end of the fist, goes to Mesi, and he outweighs Barrett, whom he met as amateurs several years ago, by 22.5 pounds. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The baby Joe Mesi Monte Barrett fight is scheduled for 10 rounds using the rules of the New York State Athletic Commission. The 3 knockdown rule is in effect. The doctor or the referee can stop the fight. In case a cut is caused by an accidental headbutt, we go to the scorecards if the 4 rounds have been completed, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the 10th and final round. Jim.
First to enter will be Monte Barrett, the former high school football star from Queens. Had an excellent start to his career. Ultimately came a cropper twice, but only against fighters half a head taller, or half a foot, I should say, taller than Mesi. Vladimir Klitschko, 6'7", and Lance Whitaker, 6'8", against fighters Mesi size. Barrett's unbeaten, and 9 times in his career, Larry, he's gone either 10 or 12 rounds, something Joe Mesi has yet to do.
Well, Mesi has not even completed 9 rounds, which will give you an idea of what Barrett may try to do tonight. to extend Mesi.
He's had a rough year and a half. His jewels were robbed. His stocks went down. He lost a lot of money. He says he's more motivated than ever now to try to get into the inner circle of heavyweight contenders.
The world fighting, but once you say you're in Madison Square Garden, it takes a lot out of you. In that dressing room, you can melt. And for tonight, from Boone Kirkman to Buster Mathis, I've seen them all fold because of the dressing room in Madison Square Garden.
And that question applies really more to Joe Mesi tonight than it does to Monte Barrett. Barrett has been in this building. Mesi has been fighting most of his major triumphs in the cocoon of Buffalo, where he is totally idolized.
You don't get used to it, though. You don't get used to it.
Well, we shall see what happens to Baby Joe tonight. In his last appearance against DeBarrow Williamson in Buffalo, with the spotlight of the nation on him for the first time, he performed spectacularly, knocking Williamson out in the first round.
Cross made a comment, Jim, at the time. He's proven that he's too good for the minor leagues. We don't know if he's good enough for the major leagues. I think tonight we may find out if there is a spot in the lineup for him. But if not, whether he's a cleanup hitter or not.
How confident is he? Yesterday we said to Joe Mesi, well, what do you think Barrett might be thinking tactically? Mesi looked at us and said, I don't know what Monte's thinking, but I'm thinking he's in trouble. We're thinking right now we're going to go up to Jimmy Lennon Jr. for the pre-fight introductions. Oh. And now I'm told that Jimmy Lennon isn't quite ready to do the pre-fight introduction, so you get a fuller look at Mesi as he steps into the ring, looking calm and collected, as was the case yesterday. And now Jimmy Lennon moves to the center of the ring, and we are ready for the pre-fight intros. Let's go to the ring.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you, and we welcome you to the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden, here in New York City. We have a big night of action in store for you, and it's all brought to you by Duva Boxing and Vitali Klitschko's promoter, Universum Box Promotions, in association with the undisputed king of beers, Budweiser, Bets.com, and Pacific Entertainment Group. This bout coming away also provided courtesy of Tony Holden Productions. Introducing to you our judges scoring the bout from ringside, from Floral Park, New York, Joe Dwyer. From Garden City, New York, Arthur Mercanti Sr., and from Albany, New York, Tom Schreck. Our third man of the ring, the referee in charge of the action, we have Mike Ortega. All right, fans, here we go with a 10-round heavyweight special attraction. Introducing to you first on my left, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing blue trunks, fighting out of and representing his hometown of Queens, New York. He weighed in at a ready 215 pounds. His fine record stands at 29 wins, 2 losses, 16 wins, coming by way of knockout. Introducing Monte, Two Guns Barrett. And his opponent across the ring on my right, fighting out of the red corner in this 10-round special attraction, wearing blue trunks with white trim, fighting out of his home of Buffalo, New York. He weighed in at 237.5 pounds, a highly decorated amateur champion, undefeated in his campaign in the professional ranks, with the record of 27 wins, no losses, 25 big wins coming by way of knockout, ranked the number 4 heavyweight in the world by the WBC. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the hard-hitting and undefeated Baby Joe Mesi. And once again, in charge, Mike Ortega now to give instructions, 10 rounds of boxing schedule.
Okay, gentlemen, we went over the rules. I want a good, clean fight. Protect yourself at all times. Obey my commands at all times. Good luck to both of you. Touch them up.
Joe Mesi's father, Jack, says that in the kind of blizzard conditions we have outside the garden, they grow flowers in Buffalo. We want to know if they grow heavyweights as well.
Mesi's last 2 fights have produced first-round knockouts. That seems unlikely against Barrett. But Barrett himself says, I don't think it'll be a long fight. I'm going to knock Mesi out. You wonder why Barrett would be thinking that way, given his on-the-record advantages in having gone the distance and understanding how to finish fights.
Baby Joe doesn't have any experience going a long distance. This is not the night to try to go and get some experience. If you can punch, do it.
Barrett said that when he sparred with Mesi in the amateurs many years ago, the one thing he remembers is Mesi's punches have pop. Barrett said he's one of those guys with heavy hands.
Mesi's better be getting ready to hold on. Don't be ashamed if you get hurt to hold on. Barrett's got the long reach. He's not using his jab when he should be.
Barrett content to stand at his distance. Mesi looking for ways to get in, and he lands a right cross right on the button.
When you're fighting a puncher, you're always supposed to be doing something if there's no more than just moving out of the way. Don't let him sit and think about his power.
Barrett tried for the big right cross himself. Now has thrown 3 straight right hands. Mesi taking 1 and ducking 2. Another hard right hand over the top by Barrett. Mesi seems unaffected.
Barrett's trying to mix up power, which is not a good idea.
He's countering Mesi's jab with his right cross and landing it.
Mesi's been going to the body. Barrett wisely waiting for that to happen and come over with his right hand.
Now Barrett throwing a hard left hook. Looks as though he's not interested in a boxing match here. Wants to slug it out with Joe Mesi.
Break, step out clean.
If you got a good long left jab and a good snapping right hand, why go out and fight a guy? And that's what Barrett is doing. He's trying to match power with a puncher.
Mesi gets inside, gets a chance to land. Backs Barrett up with a left hand.
And I think he dazed Barrett momentarily at least.
Another left hook lands for Mesi. This time he led with it.
Work on here. Let's go.
When you got a good strong jab, you can really bust a guy up. And Barrett may be doing that with Baby Joe as the fight go on, popping him with that jab to swell his eyes up.
Mesi's trying for another first-round knockout to go with the 2 that he's already racked up this year. They're going to trade some leather. Another left hook lands for Barrett. Mesi lands a left hook in return. Barrett leads with the right hand to end the round.
A good round, especially for Mesi.
Water, 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 water. Listen, lay back. Listen, Joe. Come on, relax, Joe. Relax. You're trying it too hard, right? You're trying it too hard. Now, when you use the jab a little more now, right? Can you do it?
You got it in jab in his fucking chest. Get in there and jab, but this is your jab. You ain't jabbing, you're bullshitting.
Jab this
Now,
guy.
get the fucking
Jab, this is the
and
fight
do
now,
it.
man.
Get what
This is a fight. This is what you trained 6 weeks for in the gym. Do what you've been working on, man.
Mesi doing damage with his overhand right, but especially with that left hook.
Right there.
Classic left hook, follows through with his shoulders.
CompuBox numbers in round 1. Mesi 18 out of 57. Barrett 6 out of 30. You listen to the talk in Barrett's corner and it's clear they want him to box. He trained to box. They expected him to go in and jab and move. He didn't do it.
Now for Baby Joe Mesi, his corner should just refresh him when that bell rings. Don't talk too much. Just keep your puncher refreshed. He needs his power.
Good left inside by Barrett.
Barrett is holding, which is good advice. Good strategy. Hold on when you can't do anything else.
The interesting equation you saw on the tail of the tape. Barrett is taller. Mesi has the longer arms. And there you see that Mesi is able to land with his jab from the outside.
It's interesting, Jim. In his street clothes, Mesi does not present a picture of a powerful-looking guy. When you see him in trunks, you know, he looks like a linebacker.
He just got uppercut by Barrett, 2 in a row.
2 uppercuts. That's what you want a puncher, to get a guy to start punching you back so you can mix it up with him. And I think that works for Baby Joe.
Baby Joe Mesi said a fascinating thing about Monte Barrett yesterday. Barrett with a right hand.
You want a guy to start hitting you so he can get confidence that he can punch with you. And that's what Barrett did. You got to box the puncher.
Joe Mesi said an interesting thing about Barrett yesterday. He said if you want to see the best of Monte Barrett, go after him and fight him. He said Barrett's the kind of fighter that if you fight him, you'll bring out the fight in him. If you stand back and try to box him, he'll loaf. Yeah. Nevertheless, Mesi wants to go fight him anyway.
Barrett's tastes some of that power now. He's going to have to do some mighty good thinking to stay out of trouble. The referee is not going to help you, Barrett.
Swelling outside the left eye of Monte Barrett. Just a little mouse. Maybe from a Mesi right hand. Mesi catches him with a little left hook again.
Mesi doesn't have the best left jab, so he best stay away from the jabbing contest.
I would be surprised if Barrett's legs feels like he just drank 3 dry martinis.
Good body shot by Mesi. Set up a little left hand inside. Barrett with a hard right hand uppercut.
Now, all of that punching that Barrett does works against him because you're playing right in the hand of a puncher. Got to throw combinations and move.
Right. No. Step back clean. Step back clean. Stay off the top of him, okay? Don't push him down like that. Let's go. Hey. Step back. Let him out. Let him out.
In the first 2 rounds, Monte Barrett seems to have fought more out of pride and stubbornness than ring intelligence. We'll see where it goes from here. Meanwhile, next Thursday, HBO Latino's Boxeo de Oro returns with Mike Enchando versus Gregorio Vargas. Next Saturday, pay-per-view 5 title fights featuring Ricardo Mayorga, Bernard Hopkins, Hasim Rahman against John Ruiz. January 24 live on HBO, Arturo Gatti back in action facing Gianluca Branco. January 31, Boxing After Dark, Antonio Margarito, one of the welterweight titleists, against Hercules Clivelos, plus Rafael Marquez against Pete Fresina. HBO, building legends, 1 round at a time.
Swallow. You hear what I'm telling you, Monte?
Breathe in. Let go, Bobby. Go to finish him, motherfucker. And I said it with a jab. Stick the jab.
If Barrett wasn't in the good condition he appears to be in, he might not have survived the first 2 rounds.
But in the second round, one CompuBox number is interesting. Barrett landing nearly half of his power shots, 8 of 17. Mesi also landing 8 power shots. He threw 27. Again, as you pointed out, George, Barrett wants to punch with a puncher.
Now he's gotten a little scared, Barrett has, which will make for a better boxing match for him. Fear makes you box. Mesi's corner's got to be careful. Just let the man know he's not getting into good power shots because his opponent is too tall. Don't get discouraged.
Hold him like that. Don't grab him.
Barrett has kept his head.
Took by Mesi.
Kept his head really high. It's hard to get in a good punch.
Let him out. Step back. Relax.
Sometimes young fighters think, oh, I can't do it.
Right hand to the chest for Mesi.
Let him out.
Crowd oohs and ahs when Mesi lands because he commits so much to his power punches. Big left hook by Barrett. Mesi takes it well.
And that's discouraging to a boxer when he starts missing the puncher.
Mesi willing to take a little leather to try to get inside and hack away at Barrett now. Barrett missing over the top of the right hand. Mesi clips him with the left inside.
Barrett keeps leaning on that left hook, which is not smart. Mesi can hit with that left hook.
What do you mean when you say Barrett's leaning on it?
Yeah, he's throwing too many left hooks. He's going to get caught in the exchange. Don't hook a hooker.
From what we've seen, I think the left hook is Mesi's best punch.
And Mesi can take you out with a hook, so you don't want to get in a hooking battle. Keep it to the jab and right hand.
Wait, let him out, let him out. Hold him.
Boy, you know he can take it out of a puncher when a big guy leans on his neck like Barrett is doing.
Barrett clips Mesi with the right hand. Left hook, glancing blow.
Step back.
Solid left hook by Mesi to the body. Misses with the right hand upstairs. And now blood from the left eye of Monte Barrett. And a little grin on Mesi's face as he sees the blood emerging.
Sit down, sit down.
Monte Barrett's cut man is Jimmy Glenn. Outstanding trainer and cut man who'll do a good job.
Here's that right hand. Whoa. Talking about, we've often talked about fighters who punch from the back seat. They're always moving away from a punch. He's punching so far into the front seat, he's almost on the hood.
Listen, now, it's ugly. Start working with the uppercut, yo, right?
You heard Mesi's trainer Juan De Leon, brother of a former cruiserweight champion who was popular around this area.
Also, former 130-pound world champion Tracy Harris Patterson, son of Floyd Patterson, assisting in Monte Barrett's corner. Harold, how do you have it through 3?
Okay, Jim, not so terribly hard to score. 3 rounds to nothing, 30-27, baby Joe Mesi. Jim, I gotta tell you something. Monte Barrett just can't seem to get into a rhythm. Obviously, what he's trying to do is to drop the right hand down on Joe Mesi, and he's been missing him by a mile. So, good defense by Joe Mesi, good offense, good pressure by Joe Mesi, and landing the cleaner, harder shots.
I like what Mesi is doing. He's charged in a few rounds. Now he's taking a break. Balance. Get back. Get your reserves back up for your punching power. Very few punchers know how to do that.
Mesi may feel that, just as Harold Letterman suggested, he's won the first 3 rounds. So he's got a cushion and can now begin to think a little bit more strategically about how to go about what comes next.
Well, in addition to that, Barrett is being more defensive now.
Jimmy Glenn stopped the bleeding in Monte Barrett's left eye. Mesi lands a right.
Let him out, let him out. Step back.
Their heads collided again.
Let's go, work out. Come on, break. Step back, step back, step back. Let's go.
Mesi has been the aggressor
Let's go, come on.
since the opening minutes of the first round.
Hard to imagine he'll ever fight any other way than that. Barrett missing again with the right, but lands a left hook. Mesi ducking the right that came behind it.
Has that right hand that Mesi's been trying to get in there. Barrett better be careful.
Barrett wings his right hand from the outside. Mesi throws his straight up the middle.
Whenever Barrett gets on the ropes, he drops his hand instinctively. This is the time that Mesi want to get him. You're going to have to jump on him right as soon as his back touches the rope.
Quick left hook by Joe Mesi to punctuate round 4. Meanwhile, Vitali Klitschko warming up in his dressing room, hoping to make a big show tonight to galvanize public support for the idea of another challenge against Lennox Lewis, a big pay-per-view date that might mark the end of Lewis's career. That's where Vitali wants to be after his date with Kirk Johnson tonight. Johnson says, hey, I'm the guy who ought to be fighting Lewis. If I'd gotten my chance to fight him in June, I'd have knocked him out in 4 rounds.
Hell with that, man. Your children, man. All right? Yeah. This guy here came to take food off.
In round 3, Mesi landed that punch on the eye, and that was followed by this collision. Hard to tell which one of those blows caused the cut over Barrett's left eye.
They're fighting at a pedestrian pace. Mesi threw 39 punches in the 4th round. Barrett threw 41. Heavyweights often fight at about that rate of punch output, though sometimes up to 50 or 60. Mesi in particular has been more active than that in some previous fights. But he's taken his time against Monte Barrett.
Barrett he doesn't mind extending this fight. He's not looking for a quick knockout. Mesi's better beware of that. Time your punches, plan your work, and work a plan.
Barrett with the right hand, and Mesi lands his. The ropes kept Barrett from hitting the canvas, but it's a legitimate knockdown for Mesi. And we told you, Barrett wings his right from the outside. Mesi comes right up the middle. That means Baby Joe gets there first.
Now it's evident that the Baby Joe can punch.
Now Barrett wants to try to even it up right away as he gets aggressive again.
Got to be careful. Archie Moore says sometimes when these guys are hurt, they can do more damage to you. You'll wake them up and they'll hurt you. A finisher, hard to see.
Well, he's not being reckless.
Barrett has turned southpaw on him to make it more difficult. He's turned put his right foot in front of it.
Yep, southpaw stance for Barrett.
He's a survivor. That's what Barrett is.
Watch the backhand.
Now Master's got to understand to lead with your right, then come back with your hook.
In 31 previous fights, Monte Barrett has been knocked out once. That was by Vladimir Klitschko, who knocked him down 5 times. Interestingly, Mesi said, you know, that was Monte's best performance because he fought with heart. He kept coming at Vladimir. He tried as hard as he could.
Evidently, Master's corner scouted Barrett, but didn't put this part in that he's a southpaw. He turned southpaw.
Yeah, because Baby Joe has been hesitant ever since Barrett went into the southpaw stance.
Mesi has got to understand now, you got to lead with your right.
Not many southpaws in the heavyweight division, so fighters like Mesi don't have all that much experience facing a guy who stands this way.
If Mesi can just lead with that right hand and come back with a hook, he can get him in the same position.
Remember, there's only been one southpaw heavyweight champion in history, and Michael Ortega is going to rule that a slip, not a knockdown. Barrett's looking at Mesi as if to say, see, I knocked you down just like you knocked me down, but it's ruled a slip or a push.
But Mesi was throwing combinations, which is good. Lost his balance.
All right, Joe. You know what? Leave that now.
Barrett got a little bit aggressive. Right hand straight over the jab. And what was impressive to me there, George, was it almost looked like the jab started first, and yet Mesi beat him to the punch.
All night he's been waiting to get range for that right hand. Finally, Barrett was low enough to receive
Hit
it.
him, double it then.
He's been too tall all night.
If you don't reach him with the first one, you'll reach him with the second one.
And then you get to him, you hit him one punch, you don't throw no more. You got to come up and throw some punches sharp. This nigga hitting the fucking match.
Different. Straight your leg. Be careful on the one you get hit with a hook.
In that corner.
Barrett's trainer in the corner there, the old guy, Al Davis, 89.
And clears the bell, incidentally.
Yeah, fought in the early 30s.
Calls Barrett pig-headed. And Barrett says, oh, he calls me worse than that.
Pig-headed because his intuition is to fight even when he should be boxing.
Such as tonight.
But you are who you are.
Well, Barrett was a big-time football player in high school.
Now Mesi is trying to be a counterpuncher. You don't want to do that. Just go on and take lead to the fight.
Barrett back in the conventional stance after finishing the last round standing with the other foot forward. Right hand lands for Barrett. Second one short. Now Mesi says, okay, let's trade. I'll show you my right hand.
Barrett doing some boxing now. Jab, get out of the way. Jab, get out of the way.
Yeah, but I think Barrett has now decided that he's got to do some damage because he's way behind in this fight. And he's not going to win it by boxing.
Mesi is starting to move away a little bit. You don't want to chase Mesi. That's one thing, you run into something heavy. If he moves away from you, you just stand your ground if you're Barrett.
And let him go.
Let him come back.
Barrett misses over the top of the right hand. Mesi gets in a little left to the body.
What surprises me that Mesi is able to weave away from so many shots. Real instinctively, he got a little bob and weave there.
Now Mesi's head stays still for a moment. Barrett pops him with the jab. Mesi ducks a couple, tries a left inside, and lands the right from distance.
Let him out, break, step back, step back.
Mesi's been doing all the fighting, so you really hope that his corner can refresh him.
Ooh, the big right hand. Barrett tries to shake it off.
It didn't land quite flush, and I think he had a slightly open glove when that landed.
Now you got to go back and say to yourself, I've knocked him down with a straight right hand. I've hurt him with another one. Go back to what's getting you over. He's hurt now, Barrett.
He just hurt him with another right hand.
That was a punch around the ear that seemed to
that Barrett walked into.
Affect his equilibrium.
You got to stick to what's doing good tonight.
Hit him with
right hands are doing it. Oh,
round ending down. Mesi with a right hand barrage to end the sixth. 4 rounds left in the fight. Joe Mesi perhaps headed toward going the distance for the first time in his career, but with a hefty lead on the scorecard.
Okay, round 7 coming up.
Monte, where are you from?
Oh, Queens.
Okay, good. Raise your left hand now. Beautiful. Okay.
Monte, you're getting hit because you're pulling out.
You ain't fighting doctors.
Sit in there.
Round 7.
Give me some water.
Yeah, you got to fight. Cause you got a left in you to fight.
Yeah.
Then let it go. It's 7 rounds.
He's counting my jab.
Counting my ass.
Then double it then.
The man is tired too. If you get down fight like you're supposed to fight, the fight's
Hold
over.
on, hold on. Deep breaths.
If you fight like you're supposed to fight, the fight's over. Doing combinations.
It's better too far. Listen, little, keep your hands up, move your hand a little more. Little more, listen, and hit this motherfucker with a hook.
There's the right hand once again. That time, as he was coming in, it seemed to clinch. He thought he might as well throw a punch, and it landed. You see him amused.
Joe Mesi goes to
George
the
by
7th.
Al Davis.
Yeah, because his fighter told him he's countering my left jab.
Now Mesi goes down on a right hand by Barrett. As Mesi gets over aggressive and makes a mistake.
2008. Y'all
First time in Mesi's career that he's gone to the canvas.
Well,
so
George,
Monte Barrett produces something.
George, you said before the fight you want to see whether guys can deal with adversity.
That's what we want to look for today. Not protected fighters. Can a heavyweight get up off the canvas and show you his stuff?
Well, both of them have gotten up now.
And like Barrett did after the first knockdown, Mesi's trying to show that there are no ill effects. Meanwhile, Barrett clipsing the hand with a left and a right. Mesi's getting a look of frustration on his face, like, why am I making these mistakes?
There's some swelling over Mesi's eye that's causing him a little confusion.
Left eye, product of Barrett's right hands.
He also looks a little winded, or maybe that's just an illusion. His mouth is open. He hasn't gone this far in a fight in a few years, I think.
This is the 4th time in his career that he's gone to the 7th round. He's been 7 rounds once, 8 rounds once, part of 9 rounds another time.
Break, step back.
And now this.
Watch your heads inside, watch your heads.
Well, he's knocked the guy down, hurt him a few times. You get out there and you think, I got him now, and you get caught. It happens every time.
That's called the heavyweight division, right?
That's right. And in Madison Square Garden, this happened to me once. I thought, surely I'm going to win. And there I am holding on myself.
Now Barrett is beginning to dominate this round as he hammers Mesi with a good hard left to the body.
Come out, break. Step back. Box.
Now Mesi is shucking and jiving. Don't do that. Don't give your opponent any courage like that. Don't shuck and jive with him if you're Mesi. Barrett is just fighting the way you want to fight now.
Barrett's trying to end the fight with one big right hand. Comes back with a left hook and clips Mesi with that. It's been a huge 7th round for Barrett. Now Mesi tries to even the score just a little bit in this round.
This is the toughest round of Mesi's career.
Barrett's using the uppercuts now. Uppercut.
And Mesi fighting back. Barrett up with a big left hand. Crowd responds.
In the big house, you got to fight back.
A lot of Buffalonians made the trip down from Buffalo to see their guy. Their voices prominent in the crowd in Madison Square Garden. Barrett in a corner. Mesi stalking. 7th round comes to an end. Baby Joe Mesi was knocked down for the first time in his career.
Listen, Joe. Listen. You're trying too hard. I want you to start using your jab.
Okay.
We're going for round 8 now. All right?
Okay. 8th round.
8th round now. Got it?
Box this guy for
Boost this round. Box this round. Move.
Box this guy for a round.
Deep breath. Straight your leg. Yeah. Listen, and when you get hit hard, don't try to play hard. Move.
Coming in with a left hook, walking into a short left hand by Monte Barrett.
Not much because he ran into it. That's what makes it even harder.
Yep.
Well, Barrett's walked into a couple of punches. Now Mesi walked into one. Turnabout is fair play.
Barrett's got to go for a knockout.
Round 8 of the scheduled 10. Harold, how do you have it coming into the 8th?
Okay, Jim. 68-63, 6 rounds to 1, baby Joe Mesi. Monte Barrett may have run out of rounds. He may need a knockout to win this fight. You got to give baby Joe Mesi an extra point for knocking Monte Barrett off his feet in round 5. Give Monte Barrett an extra point for knocking Joe Mesi off his feet in round 7. 6-1, Mesi.
Barrett's better go for the knockout. You don't want to get Mesi's courage back up again. You took it away from him, keep it away.
Hard right hand by Barrett. Swinging for the fences now. He knows he needs to go for a knockout. And of course, as Barrett opens up, he'll create opportunities for Mesi to try to retaliate with power punches.
Mesi's got that swelling over the left eye. That's bothering him. Maybe he's never been in that position before. But you don't want to let Barrett get his courage up. Barrett, make him move backwards if you're Mesi.
Meanwhile, Mesi continues to back up and allow Barrett to come forward. And with each step forward, Barrett's confidence is slightly reinforced. The Mesi contingent in the crowd, nervous, audibly.
See, Mesi did not go to the body enough.
There's a good right hand by Mesi.
First rule of a puncher, go to the body. In case the guy gets stronger, he's too weak to knock you out. Mesi didn't go to the body.
Monte Barrett of Queens trying to pull off a hometown upset of Buffalo's Joe Mesi.
He's called Baby Joe Mesi, but skeptics in Buffalo have said he's been babied Joe Mesi. You can't say he's been babied anymore.
And Mesi walked into a Barrett right hand. And once again seemed slightly stunned. Barrett landed another big left. Mesi's left eye is closing up.
That's going to be the thing tonight. Can his corner keep that eye open?
Well, he's got one of the 2 or 3 best cutmen in the sport in Al Gavin working in his corner. That eye's not cut, it's swollen.
Barrett's got a cut, and his corner closed it up real good for him.
Jimmy Glenn did a great job, as we said he would. They fought 8 of a scheduled 10. Meanwhile, Kirk Johnson warms up in his locker room. 2 weeks before June 21, Kirk Johnson had to drop out of his scheduled fight with Lennox Lewis because of a torn pectoral muscle. He says he thought he was over the disappointment until he watched Vitali Klitschko flirt with a chance to become heavyweight champ against Lewis. It sent him into depression, thinking of what might have been.
You know how to work, lose. All right? Keep your hands up, move your hand out, right? Time to what? To stick and move. Not too far. Start working with the right hand. He come to the right hand, chin down, sit down, and we're gonna bang on the motherfucking dust around. Come on.
Yeah, show me. Yo, you got him. You heard him. Hit him to the body.
Check us out. Let's go.
Left hand to the body. Set that right hand up. Hit him in the body. Set the straight.
It's overhand right by Barrett, high on the forehead. Barrett is not a strong puncher. That's why he's gone the distance so much. But he's a good enough puncher that if you walk into a punch, you'll feel it.
And he's proven Mesi's point that he'll fight best when somebody fights hard against him. Mesi fought hard against Barrett. He's brought out the fight in Barrett. In the last round, the 8th, Mesi only threw 27 punches by CompuBox count, landing only 4. Barrett, 13 out of 38, easily, it seems, winning the round. The judges are all from New York State. Joe Dwyer, the famous Arthur McCanty Sr., and Tom Schreck.
Barrett had his man out of it. Now he's moving away and giving Mesi more courage. Could have gotten a knockout if he really pursued it. Barrett could have. Now Mesi's got his courage and his power. Of course, he keeps the power.
Barrett lands a left hook. Mesi's been much more self-protective since the knockdown, throwing fewer punches, backing away more, trying to stay out of harm's way, but still getting harmed more than he's harming Barrett.
Boy, when you've never gone 10 rounds and you start watching the ring people go by with those numbers that you've never seen before, 8, 9, 10, it's frightening for a puncher, I can tell you that.
If they go to the final bell in this round, it'll be further than Joe Mesi's ever gone in a fight. Mesi better hope his lead on the scorecards was as solid as Harold Letterman makes it.
Barrett seems not to have any fear at all.
There's been a role reversal in this fight, which started out with Barrett as the boxer and Mesi as the aggressor. And Mesi is doing pretty well, actually, in this boxing mode. So he does have versatility.
But look and see number 9, number 10. Boy, that's scary because you wonder about yourself.
Mesi shoots a right hand and lands it. He seems to have steadied himself a bit here in the ninth.
I remember the first time I saw that green card saying number 9, boy, was I afraid.
The left eye is Mesi's lead eye, George. Can he see Barrett's right hand coming?
Well, so far he can probably see, but it's going to get worse.
Well, he's only got 3 minutes, 21 seconds to go in the fight. So how much worse can it get?
He's got to take the aggression, though. Mesi got to get out there and show the world that he's the top boy. It'll be a victory for Barrett just to survive.
What would you tell Baby Joe going into the tent? Go fight him or stay away?
Go fight him. Go fight him. We need a champion now, a guy who can get up and win the 10th round.
Got to pay off right now. It's got to pay off. You got to go out there.
Every time you hit this man with a hook, the man goes running and falling down. You don't do nothing. You stand up and look at him.
Double that left
You're
hand.
acting like you're scared, and I'm telling you the motherfucking truth. That's what you're acting like. You're not fighting.
When you get out.
Throw your jab and walk into the hook. Just take the jab and hit him. He's trying to hit you with the right hand. That's all the hell he's got. Come on, Joe. You're a better fighter than this.
Show me. Come on. All right?
No water.
The towel. Right.
Shorten them up on inside. Shorten them up. And double that left hand up.
That was Al Gavin, the cut man, who said to Mesi, come on, Joe, you're a better fighter than this. He still threw only 32 punches in the 9th round, allowing Barrett to throw 40. George Foreman said it, Joe Mesi needs to fight and win the 10th round.
Barrett had this man on the hook, could have knocked him out in the 8th round, and he backed away from the fight.
Joe Mesi has not fought in a fight that went to the judges in more than 5 years. October of '98, a 4-rounder. That was the last time he went the distance. Barrett's fighting now the way Al Davis asked him to. And the crowd is beginning to back the local fighter.
And Mesi held on. That's smart now. Most guys who are punchers don't even have those instincts. Hold on, try to get you one good shot in there.
Break, step back, break. Go, box.
If any of the judges gave some early rounds to Barrett, this could conceivably be close. Hard right hand by Mesi.
And he did it by boxing.
No, get off his neck. Go, get out of here.
Mesi goes home and studied his film. If this fight is open, he doesn't lose by knockout, he can always say, I can box too.
Big right hand by Mesi.
Barrett is hurt.
Wobbles Barrett again.
Push him down.
Finish strong if you're Barrett. Don't give up trying to get a knockout if you're Barrett.
Crowd rising for both fighters. Both fighters looking for a knockout shot. Mesi demonstrating now that he's genuinely bothered by that swollen left eye.
And he's starting to lead in with his jab, throw punches.
Work out. Let's go. Let him out, Joe.
Thing about Barrett, you need to get aggressive, but when he does, Mesi hits him hard.
Which tends to discourage you a little bit, George.
When someone is he's chasing a guy around and he hits you.
It's been a close round so far, and it could be meaningful on the scorecards. Whatever happens in the last 30 seconds of the fight could conceivably be significant.
Barrett just seems to think he's too far ahead on points for some reason. He's not throwing enough punches to get it done. Now he's throwing power punches.
Mesi's 2 right hands were the biggest punches of this round so far, but Barrett's throwing more. Mesi seems staggered. Barrett lands a right hand.
Barrett's better go for it. You better go for it.
They brawl
Mesi
down the stretch.
One punch.
Both fighters will raise their arms now.
I thought Mesi won the fight. And it was a good fight.
And we'll see what the judges thought. Will this take some of the luster off of Joe Mesi's rising star, George?
Oh, not at all. He's proven. I remember the first time they put me in the garden with a 10-round fight. Peralta had me breathing and holding on. The crowd even booed me. When you get in the garden, it brings the best out of your opponents. It's not going to take any luster. I went on to be champion of the world.
Twice. The big right hands by Joe Mesi scored in the 10th round. Surely he and his corner hoping that those two massive rights were enough to win him the round, but again, Barrett was throwing more throughout the round. Harold, how'd you score the fight?
Okay, Jim, 6 rounds to 4, 95-93, baby Joe Mesi. Jim, I got to tell you, from 7 on through the end of the fight, Monte Barrett mugged him. I thought Monte clearly won the last 4 rounds. In the 10th round, he hurt him badly with about 30 seconds to go or so. So I thought Monte Barrett clearly won the 10th round. Monte made it real close. The problem was he ran out of rounds. If this were a 12-round fight, Monte Barrett could have won it, but I thought he just lost the first 6. Joe Mesi has enough points to win it.
Change one of those rounds on Harold's scorecard, and you've got a draw. 94-94. And once again, the 3 judges from New York State. Joe Dwyer. Johnson versus Montiel, a draw. That's not an overwhelmingly significant scorecard. Arthur Mercanti Sr. scored the first Ali Frazier fight the right way for Joe Frazier, right here in this ring. And Tom Schreck. Okendo, TKO 3 eyes on. In other words, Schreck has never filed a scorecard as significant as the one he's just turned in here.
You know, it was a good fight, heavyweight fight. You don't see many of those.
You only see them when heavyweights are in the ring, huh?
Yeah, I mean, good fights. Heavyweights, one is generally on the canvas, or the other look like he just came in for the payday, but these guys both fought.
And both fighters scored clean knockdowns in the fight.
If it was a draw, I wouldn't cry.
Actually, Mesi was on the canvas one other time. It was ruled a push. Had referee Michael Ortega seen fit to call that a knockdown, Barrett might be the winner now. Certainly Mesi now looks the way a fighter should look. With that left eye, a gargoyle. Once again, we point out that both fighters scored knockdowns in the fight. In round number 5, it was Joe Mesi who landed that clean right hand that knocked Barrett into the ropes. The ropes kept him up. Ortega properly called it a knockdown. Then in round 7, Barrett reversed the damage as he caught Mesi with that left hook coming in and put Joe on the canvas for the first time in Mesi's 28-fight career. And now, Jimmy Lennon Jr. with the official scores.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds of action, we go to the scorecards with a majority decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Tom Schreck scores about 94-94, even a draw. Overruled by judges Joe Dwyer, who scores about 94-93, and Arthur Mercanti, who scores about 95-93 in favor of the winner, and still undefeated, baby Joe Mesi.
A mixed reaction in the audience. Some approving and extremely happy with Mesi's victory. Some ridiculing the decision, thinking that Barrett had overhauled Mesi down the stretch. Final CompuBox numbers. Mesi landing more and landing at a higher connect percentage. Barrett throwing more, particularly in the later rounds. Power punch numbers. Mesi not overwhelmingly accurate, but with his power punches. Neither, for that matter, was Barrett. Very similar there in what was statistically an even fight. And probably looked like a very even fight to spectators here. Mesi winning the first half, Barrett winning the second. Let's go to Larry Merchant with the winner, Baby Joe Mesi.
Thank you very much, Jim. Congratulations, Joe. Was your debut at the Garden a little tougher than you anticipated?
Not as tougher than I anticipated, because Monte is a slick, evasive type fighter. Normally, I like when they come to you, and he doesn't really do that. Made me work for it. And he's experienced, more experienced than I am, and pretty slick, so it caused a little trouble.
The first time you've been knocked down in a fight? First time, is this the first time you've got a fighter's mouse over your eye? You look like you've been in a fight for the first time.
I've had mouses before. I've never been knocked down before, but first time for everything. I'm glad that it happened, and I learned from it. I got hit with something I didn't see. I got to learn to concentrate a little more. My legs were a little weary towards the end, but otherwise my conditioning was okay.
Your legs were weary. Why? Because you've been punched more than you're used to being punched, or because you haven't gone the distance?
Probably because I haven't gone the distance. In the gym, you do 12, 15 rounds. It's different from being in the ring here. Monte's slick. He's very evasive. He moves a lot, and when I'm coming towards someone, it was a little difficult. But my win was good.
Are you saying that you think, having narrowly escaped here with your life, that it's a good experience as you move forward?
I hate to say it, but I needed it. I need to go the distance. I need to get knocked down, kind of set you straight a little bit. I learned a lot from this, and you'll see me better next time.
Do you think that in any way this slows down the Mesi Express?
No, I don't think so. In fact, I learned from it. I'm a pretty knowledgeable fighter, and I will learn a lot from this. We'll keep the same pace you've been going.
Thank you very much again. Congratulations, Joe.
Got it. Tyler,
Jim?
baby.
All right, thanks very much. So Joe Mesi remains unbeaten, 28 wins, no losses. George, you said at the top of the show you were looking for heavyweights who could respond well to adversity. Did Baby Joe fill the bill?
He did. He was knocked down, clearly knocked down, a clean knockdown. He got up and fought. Got his eye swollen, in trouble, corner confused. He fought to the end. That's the kind of champions we're looking for. He filled the bill.
All right, what about people in the crowd who think that Monte Barrett won the fight?
Oh, you're going to always have them. They booed me in Madison Square Garden just because I went 10 rounds, not because the guy won. They expect Mesi to get a knockout, and they didn't do it, so boo.
All right, well,
live with it.
We remind you that coming up in just a few minutes, you'll see another heavyweight battle. Vitali Klitschko looking to enhance his credentials to fight for the heavyweight championship against another fighter in the same position, Kirk Johnson from Lennox Lewis's native country of Canada. And a little bit later on, we'll also be showing you our year in review piece for what has been a fully eventful and tumultuous year of boxing on HBO in 2003. And as you watch the piece, keep in mind that you can log on to our HBO boxing website, hbo.com/boxing, to vote for HBO's Fighter of the Year, Upset of the Year, Fight of the Year, and Knockout of the Year. We will keep the website question up until December 31 so that you can vote for the entire rest of the year, and we'll give you the results of that poll in January. Meanwhile, next Wednesday, the debut of the next installment of our Sports of the 20th Century documentary series.
A wild ride, a wild city, a wild decade. It was the 70s and their time to shine.
The Raider defense was swarming maniacs.
They broke the rules and gave a city its identity.
If we were playing in New York, they would be calling us the greatest team in baseball history.
Two teams with nothing to lose.
They would wear you down by their sheer mean-spirited persistence.
They lived fast.
Guys were fighting on the buses, on the field, but we were winning.
Played hard.
We weren't going to lose. You had to beat us.
And made no apologies.
I only had 3 rules. Be on time, pay attention, play like hell.
HBO Sports of the 20th Century presents.
We were the kind of like the stepchild of the Bay Area.
Rebels of Oakland, the A's, the Raiders, the 70s.
Their attitude, man. I don't give a damn. I'm here just to win this game and kick ass.
Premieres Wednesday night at 9 on HBO.
We won championships. We won championships.
Epic stuff. Coming up now, Vitali Klitschko against Kirk Johnson. This is Act 2 of a drama that began June 21 in Los Angeles, the night of a heartbreakingly unfulfilled quest by Vitali Klitschko to become the heavyweight champion of the world. The chance to fight for the heavyweight championship is maddeningly elusive for its pursuers. Injury robbed Kirk Johnson of his chance,
just days before his June 21 date with Lennox Lewis. In an instant, the opportunity of a lifetime vanished.
They trade big right hands. Lewis gets the worst of it.
Enter Vitali Klitschko, who attempted to seize the moment.
Combinations for an increasingly confident Vitali Klitschko.
Until disaster turned up in the blink of an eye.
Someone is bleeding pretty good there.
And Vitali Klitschko's left eye is ripped up.
Smelling blood, the champion found his footing, but the challenger stood his ground.
It's just a Pier 6 brawl in there, guys. All-out war. Vitali's certainly ahead on points, but can he finish the fight with that eye?
Klitschko's moment of truth drowned in a garish crimson stream.
They're stopping the fight. They're stopping the fight because of the damage to Vitali Klitschko's eye.
Tonight, Vitali Klitschko looks to maintain the momentum from that eye-opening performance, while Kirk Johnson takes a step toward erasing the memory of his own misfortune. At stake for both, another chance to find out what could have been.
For his part, Vitali Klitschko had hoped he'd be fighting Lennox Lewis tonight. Lewis said, "I won't fight him until doctors certify that eye is okay." Klitschko says, "All the doctors have said that. Lewis is ducking me now." Kirk Johnson says, "I'm the guy who should fight Lennox Lewis. If I'd gotten the chance back in June when that torn pectoral muscle knocked me out, I'd have knocked Lewis out within 4 rounds. Anybody can see that from the way Lewis fought." So now let's get ready for this showdown between two men who both believe they can become the champion in the post-Lewis heavyweight era. George Foreman, Vitali Klitschko, in his 2 biggest fights against Chris Byrd and Lennox Lewis, was leading on the scorecards in both fights before those fights were brought to conclusion by Klitschko injuries. How do you size him up off of those 2 performances?
Well, they say when in Rome, he did the right thing for Europe. When you're hurt, you do a sensible thing. You just sit down and come back for another day. When you're in America, you got to fight through adversity, cut, clean out, get up and fight. He's proven to me that he is the right kind of fighter. Tonight, let's just hope injuries do not reoccur.
You make a great point. He was stunned at the criticism he took from American boxing writers when he retired against Byrd because the shoulder was legitimately hurt. So then he fought the way he did in Los Angeles, partially to prove them wrong, right?
Yeah, and he did. I mean, the guy's got everything he needs. Can he escape these injuries that seems to follow him around?
All right, let's turn to Larry Merchant. Larry, in his biggest fight, an opportunity to gain a heavyweight title belt against John Ruiz, Kirk Johnson imploded and self-destructed, losing the fight ultimately on a series of what seemed like senseless fouls. How do you size up Kirk Johnson?
First, with a truck scale and a wide-angle lens, because he weighed in the other day at 260 pounds. He was swaddled in some sweat clothes, but that's still much higher than his highs, which are a little bit too high to begin with, in the past. So, Krispy Kreme breath, why would you do such a thing? He says that because he melted down against Ruiz in the ring, because he had melted down outside of the ring by overtraining. Coming into this fight, conventional wisdom was that because of his quickness and his boxing skills, that Johnson has a real chance at an upset. Now that he's melted up, who knows?
Well, we're about to find out. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape for these 2 big modern era style heavyweights. Klitschko, 32 years old. Johnson, 1 year younger. 5-inch height advantage for Vitali and a 2.5-inch advantage in arm length measured from the armpit to the end of the fist. Look at the weights. Again, these are 21st century heavyweights. Klitschko at 250, Johnson weighing in at a perhaps terribly indiscreet 260. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Vitali Klitschko Kirk Johnson fight is scheduled for 12 rounds, non-title, using the unified rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no 3 knockdown rule. The doctor or the referee can stop the fight. In case the cut is caused by an accidental headbutt, we go to the scorecards if the 4 rounds have been completed, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the 12th and final round. Jim!
Here comes Kirk Johnson. former Canadian Olympian, knocked out Lou Savarese in 4 rounds, set himself up for this. Yesterday, in discussing the 260-pound weight allotment that he put on the scale the other day, he had first said, well, I had a lot of clothing on, I don't really weigh that much. Then he turned around and said, well, this time I'm not overtrained. This weight will help me to have more stamina.
I hope he shows more eagerness when he gets into the ring than he seems to have in this slow motion walk to the ring.
Well, he's never been the kind of personality who elicits enormous excitement outside the ring. His big moments in the ring usually come from counter shots fired at odd angles against fighters who underestimate this big man's quickness and slickness.
Now, George, you don't think it's a bad thing that a fighter like a big heavyweight doesn't try to get into perfect shape?
Well, 1 year perfect shape is 1 pound, and next year perfect shape is another pound with the heavyweight. He's got Curtis Coke, who really believes in this counter-punching anyway, so it's not like he needed to lose a lot of weight to do that.
Curtis Coke, the former welterweight star of the 50s and 60s, is the trainer for Kirk Johnson. And here comes Vitali, and you hear the crowd support for this Ukrainian giant who now lives in Beverly Hills and is being idolized on both continents.
We haven't mentioned the crowd much, but it's been blizzarding in New York for 2 days. They were expecting upwards of 11 or 12,000 fans. They've got a crowd here maybe of 10 or 11. Quite amazing given the conditions outside.
And suddenly the arena has erupted with Ukrainian flags, which are light blue and yellow. There are even some Russian flags on display here. The Klitschkos are frequently referred to in American media as being Russian. Their father was a Soviet Air Force colonel in the helicopter division. They were raised in the Soviet Union sports program and really were the last 2 major products off the assembly line of the Soviet Union's amateur boxing machine. Now let's go to ring announcer Jimmy Lennon Jr. for the official introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you, and we welcome you to the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden here in New York City, as it is time for our featured bout of the evening, brought to you by Duva Boxing and Vitali Klitschko's promoter, Universum Box Promotions, in association with the undisputed King of Beers, Budweiser, Bets.com, and Pacific Entertainment Group. This special attraction is a heavyweight eliminator for the #1 ranking, sanctioned by the WBC President Jose Sulaiman, Supervisor Juan Sanchez, along with the New York State Athletic Commission, the Chairman Ron Scott Stevens. Introducing our judges, scoring the bout from ringside. From Brick, New Jersey, Tom Kazmarek. From Ardsley, New York, Melvina Lathan. And from Yorktown Heights, New York, Fred Ucci. And our third man to the ring, the referee in charge. He'll be giving instructions after the introductions, Arthur Mercanti. All right, fans, here we go. 12 rounds of boxing scheduled for the bout you've all been waiting for. And now, ladies and gentlemen in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, live from Madison Square Garden, it's time for the main event of the evening. Introducing to you first on my right, fighting out of the red corner, entering the ring wearing black trunks with white trim, hailing from North Preston, Nova Scotia in Canada. He weighed in at 260 pounds even. His fine record stands at 34 wins, 1 defeat, 1 draw, with 25 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the #5 ranked heavyweight in the world by the WBC, introducing Kirk Johnson. And his opponent across the ring on my left, fighting out of the blue corner, this 12-round main event, wearing black trunks with gold trim, hailing from Kiev, Ukraine. His weight, 250 pounds even. His record stands at 32 wins, 2 losses, 31 big wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, currently ranked the WBC #1 contender. Please welcome the former WBO heavyweight champion of the world, introducing Vitali Klitschko. Once again, Arthur Mercanti, our referee, now to give instructions.
Good evening, Kirk. Good evening, Vidal. You received your rules early in the night by the New York State Athletic Commission. I want a nice, clean fight. Touch gloves. Good luck to the both of you.
Klitschko and his cut man both insist that the cut, that terrible wound over his left eye, has fully healed in 6 months, and that it did not interfere at all in his training. We shall see.
You saw 2 of the great cutmen in the last fight, Jimmy Glenn and Al Gavin. Joe Souza, the man who worked that cut for Vitali in Los Angeles, is also in the upper echelon of boxing cutmen. Kirk Johnson coming in, trying to go for broke with big shots, and Klitschko bangs him straight up the middle with the left hand.
This is not what we were led to believe Johnson would do. Maybe he was just coming out in the first moment to get some
warning. Lands a right hand over the top, straight onto Johnson's chin.
Klitschko should go right for the body. Klitschko, go right for the body. Make him prove that he's in shape with that midsection. And that's what you got to do when you see a guy like that who's normally not in that kind of shape.
Klitschko, as he showed against Lewis, George, doesn't throw many body punches. He's a headhunter.
This is when he should go to the body, because this guy, if he's really out of shape, you got to bring it out of him, make him quit.
Big right hand by Klitschko, backs Johnson up into the ropes.
Klitschko even now is aiming at the head. He should be aiming at the body.
Crowd thinks Vitali can get a first-round knockout the way he's been able to land against Johnson. Misses over the top with the right hand. This is an extremely aggressive Vitali Klitschko. Normally, he's much more cautious than this in the early going.
He's got to go to the body. You're not going to be able to hit Kirk Johnson in the head right off.
And there's a good body shot by Johnson. As Johnson tried a big right hand, looping it, Klitschko again stepped in and popped him right up the middle.
This is not classic big punching. This is punching from the rafters.
The good thing about Klitschko, if he keeps the pressure on this guy, make him keep throwing a lot of punches, Kirk Johnson could give out easily. Johnson should be moving a little more, because you don't want to just get hit just because the guy is in front of you.
Does Johnson have an abrasion already by his right eye?
Why is the right eye so red?
I think this comes with the package.
Left hand lands for Klitschko. Bangs Johnson into the corner. Left hand lands again. Good hook.
If you're Klitschko, you don't want to totally disrespect the contender.
Johnson has landed a couple of good-sized body shots. His best offense in the round.
6 months is not enough time for that right eye to heal. Doesn't matter what they say.
Watch behind that head.
There's one right shot to the body. When a guy's ducking and dodging, you go to the body to make him start protecting his body, then you can get the head.
Both fighters swung big in round 1. Klitschko landed more. And when we go to Vitali Klitschko's corner, where Fritz Sedunik will speak German, our interpreter is Jens Halling.
You're doing very good. Be careful when he comes with his right. You gotta can you see him when he comes with his right? You gotta use your left. You did very good the last round.
Give him the hard jab. Give him my jab, baby. You all right. You all right. But you want to fight him a little bit now. You got to fight him a little bit. Jab, right hand, hook. Come on, baby. Get up. Use that jab. Use that jab, baby. Come on, Curtis.
We didn't see a lot of Johnson jabbing in round one, so you heard both Curtis Coates and Lou Duva saying, please use the jab. CompuBox numbers were a wipeout. 26 out of 57 for Klitschko. Johnson, 5 out of 38. Johnson, given credit by CompuBox for throwing 23 jabs in the first round, but he only landed 3.
Is Klitschko inviting that big right hand the way he holds his left?
No doubt about it. He got that, and he's bending his knee, which is worse. If you're going to drop your hand, keep your height up high. Stand high on your legs. He's bending his knees and he's dropping his left hand.
Here's a big left hand by Kirk Johnson.
Johnson's corner told him to jab. That's not a good idea with this guy's right hand. He'll come over right on top of that jab. Klitschko can get you.
Two extremely experienced boxing men telling Johnson to jab, and George says that's not a good idea.
Not a good idea. You want a combination and get out of the way, hold him whenever you can, but don't exchange jabs. He'll get you. It's like Bob Gibson coming off that bound with that straight right hand. There it is, see? It hurts.
Dropping the right hand over the jab, just as George Foreman said he would.
You got to move. Left, right.
Klitschko just missed with a right hand that might have knocked Johnson into next week.
Klitschko's got to forget that he was in a fight with Lennox Lewis. This is a totally different opponent. Respect him in another way.
Italy landing a good left to the body, missing with the right hand. But Johnson shying away from the right hand and giving Vitali another chance.
Klitschko is waiting for that left hand to just drop.
Vitali fighting with tremendous confidence, chasing Johnson into the corner and pounding with the right hand. Crowd goes nuts. Got him again. Stunned with the left. Johnson's in trouble. Big trouble.
4, 5, 6, 7. Walk to me, Kirk.
Nobody has ever done this to Kirk Johnson in 12 years as a pro.
You want to see a heavyweight destroyer? Vitali Klitschko wants to be your man. He wants to be your man right now. Big right hand lands again. Johnson having trouble fighting back. Down goes Johnson.
That's it.
Arthur McCarthy's going to stop the fight.
That
is it.
That whale was just harpooned.
Big time. And that is a great performance for Vitali Klitschko.
I like it when they knocked him out. There's no question from the judges, no referee interference, clean knockout. That's the way I scored him.
Now we have to wonder, how does Lennox Lewis see this? Does he see it as an opportunity for a major pay-per-view event? Or does he see it as an opportunity to go quietly into the sunset with his career?
What a
Was
turnaround.
right there before, and he let the fight get away. It seems tonight he has figured, I'm not letting it get away. I'm going for a knockout. Kirk Johnson.
What an aggressive performance by Vitali. He sensed that this was his moment, and he seized it. Tremendous.
Kirk Johnson, he knocked out the barbecue ribs.
Well, the year began as badly as possible for the Klitschko family, as younger brother Vladimir, considered the more gifted of the two fighters, crumbled in a heap in 2 rounds against Corey Sanders in Germany. Now Vitali Klitschko helps to erase some of that memory as he folds Kirk Johnson up in 2
I like
rounds.
it because he was brave enough to come back in 6 months after that eye is not even healed properly and take the fight to his man.
You
That's
think he
what I
won
like.
some fans in Los Angeles? Imagine how many fans he's won here.
He's won New York now, the big house.
Well, here are the replays, and we'll show you Vitali Klitschko's unrestrained destruction of Kirk Johnson. There's the left hook that started it.
Oh, and he keeps throwing shots. Generally, big guys wait. I didn't hurt you. He keeps throwing punches until the referee breaks him up.
This is the way George Foreman used to finish opponents off.
That's what you try to do. You get a guy hurt, why play around? Go for it. He see this guy's retreating, why let him off the hook? Jab.
Good jab.
Waits for a good right hand. Body shot. Stays right on him, doesn't matter what. And he cleaned his house. Get up, Kirk. Right hand right on top of that left.
And from the way he fought, you can once again put to rest any questions about Vitali Klitschko's heart and bravery.
Oh, he was brave tonight. He got a contender and charged at him.
He was here to storm Kirk Johnson, and he did it. Let's go to Timmy Lennon Jr. for the particulars on the second round knockout.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time of 2 minutes 54 seconds in round number 2. A referee in charge, Arthur Mercanti, stops the contest. The winner by way of technical knockout, and still the #1 heavyweight contender, Vitali Klitschko.
Vitali Klitschko landing 55 out of 113 and destroying Kirk Johnson, who managed to throw 65 punches but only landed 9 of them. Power shots, pretty much the same story. As in the power shot category, Klitschko was 39 out of 68, 57%. In other words, he was able to target big power shots at will against a fighter who is normally relatively slick and quick, but came in here tonight fat, out of shape, and discredited himself with this performance. Let's go to Larry Merchant with the winner, Vitali Klitschko.
Thank you very much, Jim. Congratulations, Vitali. Were you surprised that he wanted to stand there and exchange with you instead of boxing you?
Actually, together with my team, we developed 3 situations. Kirk Johnson starting very aggressive. His first situation. His second one, he will be sometime aggressive, sometime defensive. In first situation, he will be very defensive and make some attack every round, every end of rounds.
So you were prepared for that kind of aggression. Did you want to knock him out early? Did you want to make a big statement being in the position you are in the heavyweight division tonight?
Yes, of course. It's a motivation for me to be world champion. Actually, I was prepared to be world champion in June 21, 6 months ago against Lennox Lewis. Just can't stop me in fight. Right now, I was 100% ready for this fight and big motivation to fight against Lennox Lewis. I don't know. Lennox Lewis, I'm sure. Lennox, hi. I know you see this fight. You see it right now by TV and show this fight. And I hope the fight against Lennox Lewis will be. Or not, it's...
If not, you might fight Corey Sanders, who beat your brother.
Yes, it's a very interesting fight because behind this fight, very interesting story. Corey Sanders beat my brother. One time I fight against Ross Purity and beat him. Chris Bird won. I threw my ligament in my shoulder. And the next fight, Vladimir beat Chris Bird. And right now, it's part 4th.
Have you gained, even at your age and having been a prize fighter so long, have you gained some confidence from how you performed against Lennox Lewis?
I don't want to open the play. When fight will be in the future against Lennox Lewis, when Lennox Lewis will be not retired,
I promise for everybody, I beat Lennox. I give my best to beat him. Lennox is great champion. He's history of boxing. And to fight against great champion and to beat him, it's my dream.
It seems that you wanted to end the fight before any injury could end it against you. Because in your other two big fights against Barrett and Lewis, when you were ahead, you had to retire with injuries. No chance of an injury tonight.
Du wolltest den Kampf schnell beenden, damit nicht wie in den großen Kämpfen wie Barrett und Lewis eine Verletzung auftritt bei dir.
Actually, I was prepared for all 12 rounds. For defensive work from Kirk Johnson for all 2 rounds. I was in great condition right now. And I was prepared for hard fight. Kirk Johnson coming to me, want to fight. Come on.
One last question. Were you surprised so many Ukrainians from this area came here to Madison Square Garden?
I know in the United States and Canada, very big diaspora.
Community,
really big Russian and Ukrainian community. It's not just the United States. It's many my friends coming from Germany, coming from Russia, coming from Ukraine to support me in this fight.
Thank you again. Congratulations, Vitali. Jim?
All right, thanks very much, Larry. Thanks, Vitali. George Foreman, what do you think Lennox Lewis saw? Did he see dollar signs or a stop sign?
If Lennox Lewis is George Foreman minded, he see dollar signs. I think that Lennox Lewis, we didn't see the best of him last time. He should get in shape and come back and get those dollars. Vitali was looking great. Lennox Lewis need to leave out on a beautiful note too. See the dollar sign, go for the buck.
And incidentally, if he doesn't see dollar signs, then the time is now to make up his mind and move on, right?
Yeah, he needs counseling if he doesn't see the dollar signs now.
Because the heavyweight division no longer needs to stay on hold. Larry, there are qualified candidates now.
Yeah, I don't know if he is that someone that we talked about before the fight, that someone emerging, but that performance tonight, coming here in Madison Square Garden, coming at a dramatic moment in which there is going to be a turnover and who stays on top of the heavyweight division, will get a lot of attention both in the boxing world and, as all of these fans showed, beyond the boxing world.
All right, let's give you boxing fans a huge treat. What a year it's been on HBO. What a way tonight brought us to finish the year. It began with a string of amazing upsets. It ended with another brave Vitali performance. Let's look at 2003.
That's right. You can definitely do it, baby. Stop being the nice guy, okay? This guy wants you bad, he wants you light.
Two young fighters giving it everything.
And they're going to have a war. This is not the fight that Vernon Forrest wanted. Vernon wobbling on his feet as he threw the right hand. He goes down in the face of a clutching right cross.
I was fighting a clown. I did not come out in the first round because my corner told me to take it easy, but I got him.
Filed the charges against Larry Merchant for inciting to smoke.
Vladimir Klitschko seems so perfect, you wonder what's wrong with him.
Klitschko goes down on a huge left hand inside by Corey Sanders.
And the next big thing is about to become the last big bust.
And thus ends the Vladimir Klitschko Express. Vitali Klitschko is roughing Lennox Lewis up. He rips him again with the right hand. Lewis momentarily wobbles.
Who's winning the fight?
Vitali Klitschko's left eye is ripped up.
Boy, that cut is bad. That cut is bad.
Hold it.
And they're stopping the fight because of the damage to Vitali Klitschko's eye.
I understand you were behind on all the judges' scorecards.
Listen, he would have got knocked out the next couple of rounds.
You gotta put this guy on his ass. I'm serious now, okay?
Jirov is hurt, badly hurt. Oh my God, look at this.
Oh my God! Oh, look at my dear.
Oh,
Tony!
oh, that's it.
It's got it. It's down. Oscar dictating the pace of the fight and landing more punches. Hard right hand by Mosley, but again, one punch at a time. De La Hoya is the one who's landed combinations.
You gotta win the round. You gotta knock it down. You'll win the fight.
Oscar De La Hoya tries to hold on to his seemingly secure position in the fight, and Shane Mosley chases a knockout.
It was a clear-cut victory for De La Hoya.
And new as good as any of them have been.
Well, if you love boxing the way we do, there are only good years and better years. I remember a couple years ago we said it was the year of the upset, and then last year was the year of the rematch. This year I think we're seeing a year of a changing of the guard with fighters like Mayorga and Pacquiao and now Klitschko. Other great things, the comeback of James Toney this year bodes well for next year. Happy New Year, everybody. It's the weather outside is frightful, but the fights are always delightful.
Yeah, we got to see Roy Jones in a tough fight, too. Who thought we'd ever see that? And we remind you, you can go to our HBO Boxing website, hbo.com/boxing, cast your own vote for what was HBO's Fighter of the Year, Upset of the Year, Fight of the Year, and Knockout of the Year. These questions will remain on our website until December 31, New Year's Eve. You can vote right up until then. We'll give you the results in January. And if you've been reading your newspapers the last couple of days, you probably know that our beloved George Foreman is getting ready to make a big career move and go on to other things besides working with us here on HBO. George, what's up?
Well, you know what? For over 12 years now, my wife has been the only one present at the parent-teachers meeting. I got to get back into the PTA and all of that. I'm raising a lot of boys. They need me at the football games, and I'm going to just dedicate a few years to them before they grow up and make a rap video about me.
We're happy
Daddy wasn't there.
All those Georges. We're happy for you that you're going to have those great personal moments, and we'll miss you a lot.
Yeah, but I love you guys. So I'll be watching you. I'm going to put one of those motors out there in the motorhome and watch HBO Boxing as good as it gets and better as it gets over the years.
Well, we can't wear the big and tall stuff, but send us a little food every once in a while, will you?
Casual mail,
and the good news is, incidentally, that this is not George's absolute last appearance with us on HBO. He'll be back with us in February for a final farewell, and we'll all tear up again then. All right?
Thanks so much.
Thanks very much for being with us on this last great HBO Boxing Show of the year. We'll have a final word on what happened in the ring here in just a moment. Right now, let's look at some upcoming programs. Next Saturday on HBO pay-per-view, it's a monster card. 5 title fights featuring Ricardo Mayorga, Bernard Hopkins, and Hasim Rahman against John Ruiz. January 24, live boxing on HBO. Arturo Gatti takes on undefeated Italian Gianluca Bronco. It's Gatti's first fight since the classic trilogy against Mickey Ward, and it's live on World Championship Boxing. HBO, building legends one round at a time. Tonight, here in Madison Square Garden, you saw Baby Joe Mesi go 10 rounds for the first time in his unbeaten career. Weather the storm of a knockdown at the hands of Monte Barrett, He knocked Barrett down himself earlier in the fight. Mesi ultimately won a majority decision despite the closed left eye to remain unbeaten at 28-0. And then Vitali Klitschko, facing what many regarded as a tough style matchup against Kirk Johnson, took advantage of Johnson's apparent failure to condition himself properly for the fight and destroyed Johnson with a barrage of power punches in 2 rounds. Vitali building his campaign and galvanizing public support for his desire to become heavyweight champion of the world. Next on HBO on the East Coast, stay tuned for the premiere of Shock Video 2004. On the West Coast, for tonight, it's appropriately Legendary Nights, Foreman Moorer, followed by the premiere of Analyze That. And as this is our final show in 2003, we'd like to thank all the many behind-the-scenes people who made our excellent productions possible this year. The executive producer of HBO Sports is Rick Bernstein. Our boxing producers are John Crystal, Dave Harmon, and Thomas Odelfeld. Every fight in 2003 was directed by Mark Payton. Our feature producers, Joe Gonzalez, Abtine Motilla, and Brooks Silverbraga. Assistants to the producer, Harley Glantz, George Jakovic, and Greg Stern. Production managers, Jason Cohen, Mike Davis, John McCallie, and Holly Peterman. Technical supervisors, Bob Hunter and Roy Otaki. Our technical director is Doug Getz, and our production coordinator at every fight is Tammy Cotel.
Celebrating 30 years of boxing, this has been a presentation of HBO Sports, the network of champions.